Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next problem asks us to take 2 over x squared minus 2x plus 1 and add it to 3 over x squared minus 3x plus 2. Now the first thing we know in an addition problem is we need a common denominator. And unfortunately these do not match. So my first step in this problem is to factor each denominator and do what I can to try to get them to match. This denominator, x squared minus 2x plus 1, factors as x minus 1 times x minus 1. So we replaced it with its factored form. This denominator factors as x minus 1, x minus 2. So our first step in this problem is to factor each denominator. Now here's the reason for doing that. By factoring the denominators, we can see what's missing from each denominator to put in the other one to make them the same. Now, when I look in this denominator, I have an x minus 1 twice. Over here I have an x minus 1 once. But notice this denominator is completely missing an x minus 2. So what I'm going to have to do is to come over here and fill in what's missing. And it's already got an x minus 1. In fact, it has it twice. But it's missing an x minus 2. So I fill that in. I fill in an x minus 2 to the bottom. And what I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. Okay? Now, when I come over to this denominator and I look, there's an x minus 2 here, there's an x minus 1 here, but this denominator has an x minus 1 2 times, so we need to make this one also have it 2 times, because they need to be identical. So I put another x minus 1 in this denominator, and again, what I do downstairs, I have to do upstairs. So what I did, two things so far is, I factored the denominators that were there, and then I filled in what was missing in each denominator to make it match so that the two denominators are the same. Now look what I have. I'm trying to draw my line for you. In the denominator, I have an x minus 1, I have an x minus 1 again, and I have an x minus 2. So my denominators are now the same. Once the denominator matches, which it does now, I pay attention to the numerators. 2 times x minus 4 becomes 2x minus 4. 3, which is a positive 3, times x minus 1 becomes a plus 3x minus 3. So I basically got that by distributing. In the numerators, when I collect like terms now, I have 5x minus 7. Everybody okay with that? We combined like terms. And in the denominator, I still have my x minus 1, my x minus 1 again, and my x minus 2. Now the final step in this problem is to make sure that your answer is in lowest terms. And the only way to know if your answer is in lowest terms is by factoring and then canceling. Well, in this case, 5x minus 7, everything down here is already factored. 5x minus 7 is virtually factored because it is itself and 1. So what that means is this answer is the final and simplified answer to this problem. And to be honest, it's not mandatory that you put parens around the numerator. I did it just to show you that it was factored and that I checked it, because the last step in every problem is to make sure that you try to factor and then cancel.